Hey guys, what's up? It's Nathan from lucidnetworker.com. You have to bear with me today. I'm a little bit congested, was a little bit sick a few days ago, so I just want to come at you with some information on the CCNA and studying for the CCNA in 2025. Now, a lot of you guys are wanting to get the CCNA for obvious reasons, very sought after certification for entry level roles. I want you to know, though, that the CCNA is different than it used to be. So studying for it is different because, back 5-6 years ago, the old revision of the exam was a lot more based around simulations, where you're getting in there and actually configuring equipment and labs, kind of like the CCNP is now. I'm planning to take the Encore pretty soon here, and the CCNP is Encore is like half, so it's like half question and answer, and then there's half where you're doing simulations. Now, the CCNA these days is not really built like that. It's more of an exam that is built around, you got A, B, C, D, which one is it? What is the correct answer? And there's not a lot of simulations. Now, this can make the exam maybe a little bit easier for some people who learn material that way very easily, where they can go through flashcards or note cards or things like that, and just really are able to memorize that stuff and soak it in. And for some people that maybe are more focused around like simulations, and it's easier for them to use the hands-on to really pass exams because they just learn better that way. It may not be as easy for you, just from a passing the exam perspective. Now, if you are that latter option, I do want you to keep in mind that most of the work you're going to do, your boss is going to come up to you and go, hey, what is the what is the correct RFC for OSPF? Like, if you want to know it, Google it, and he doesn't care if you know, right? Like, if you need to know, you Google it. So, obviously that's kind of a funny example, or but you know what I mean. Like, no one's coming up to you and asking you multiple choice questions at your job. Your job is going to be built around actually configuring the equipment, right? So, just keep that in mind as you're going through it. If you are that person who is better at the hands-on stuff and you kind of soak it in more, that's good. It's good for your job. It's going to be good for your career to just have that ability to learn that way. So, that being said, though, for the person who is maybe, you maybe excel a little bit more at just, going through flashcards and that memorization, keep in mind that, you don't want to just heavily rely on that to pass the CCNA. And what I mean more specifically is you can pass the CCNA by doing that, but you also want to make sure that you're getting the hands-on experience as you go through. If you're not doing that, it's a big disservice to you, because what's going to happen when you go into that interview and you have your CCNA and you're expected to know some stuff. You're expected to know configuring basic spanning tree, configuring VLANs, maybe basic route switch, that kind of stuff. If you're needing to know that in an interview, which you definitely will need to know it in the real world eventually, you kind of did yourself a disservice, right, if you just passed the exam just based off flashcards. So I personally think that you should kind of take a two-pronged approach to studying for the CCNA in 2025. And, you know, what that is would be you want to focus on getting that multiple choice question and answer, you know, rote memorization, knock that out, get that done, make sure you can go through and pass on that level. But as you go through, do not neglect getting the hands-on. You know, every time you can lab something out, please do, whether that is a physical lab, a virtual lab. You know, a lot of these providers now have virtual labs built in. Shout out to CBT Nuggets and others too. I think IT Pro TV has the same stuff, but it's basically these labs are built right in to their study, not their study guides, but what am I trying to say? The video lessons. Whereas for me right now, and even for the CCNP stuff they have for CBT Nuggets, it's the same way. And I think IT Pro is the same way, where it's kind of built in. And what I use EVNG, and kind of a different labbing environment where I can actually set up, the routers on my own, put the images on there and all that. But that being said, when I was going through CBT stuff for the Encore, I definitely used their virtualization tools too, because the one nice thing about these labs is they're already set up for you. So you just basically get in there, you click turn on lab, and you're in that environment, and you're not just in the environment, but usually those switches and routers are already configured for you to do the lab. So, what I'm going through right now, the lessons, I'm going through networklessons.com, his CCNP information, and I'm using EVNG. But the thing is, I'm having to go and configure these switches with OSPF, BGP, or whatever it is before I actually go in there and can start, doing whatever the lesson is, which I don't think is a bad thing, because it really puts your muscle memory to work, learning how to put those configurations in place. But I just want to mention that you don't necessarily have to go off and buy a physical lab, or definitely not for the CCNA, have to go off and buy a physical lab or anything like that, or even buy EVNG or what's Cisco's CML, Cisco Modeling Labs. You don't have to do any of that, because these providers now, and yeah, they're kind of expensive monthly, so maybe your company or something will help you out with that, or you just take the hit and do it for a few months, and knock out your CCNA and go from there. But I will definitely, when you get into a real career as a network engineer, you're going to have that opportunity to get that stuff typically paid for. If your employer wants you to better themselves, or to better yourself. But anyway, yeah. So you don't need a physical lab. You don't need anything fancy with the virtual lab stuff. You usually just need a subscription, honestly. So just think about that. Make sure as you're going through the CCNA, you're labbing everything as much as you can. And again, you still have to focus on getting those concepts and theories down, and just kind of the rote memorization stuff that you have to have for an exam in general. You know how that is. I have a whole lot of opinions on that, but at the same time, I don't want to get away from the topic too much, but I get why they add that stuff in there. So when they focus on the flashcards, I would say mainly get a good notepad, a physical notepad, and write stuff down. For flashcards, I don't know if you guys have used Anki, is what I would recommend. It's a good flashcard system. I think you have to pay for the iOS version, but you do not have to pay for the Windows version. And you can make an account on there, and you can sync up all your flashcards, and it'll, periodically give you flashcards that you failed on a lot, based off its own algorithm, and it's going to give you the best kind of bang for your buck, memorization wise. So make sure you do that. Other things I can recommend is just make sure that you're setting a time each day to study, right? And if you're working, you know, and you can't put a lot of time into this, 30 minutes a day, guys. 30 minutes a day, every day, and more on the weekends if you can. And then find your best time to study. For me, it's the morning. So I wake up in the morning, I'm fresh, I'm ready to go, focusing on whatever it is. So what I'll typically do is, you know, weekdays, Monday through Friday, wake up a bit earlier before work, get 30 minutes in. Any downtime I have at work, it's studying, and on the weekends I'll try to do at least 2 hours, sometimes more. You know, if I don't have a lot going on that weekend, then I'll get in extra time. But you want to do that, and if that's hard for you, if it's hard for you to get up in the morning and want to get the study, and start small, guys. It's all about those habits, right? Your daily life is all about those habits. And even moreover, it's like what you're going to achieve in your life is all about those daily habits. So if you could only do 15 minutes a day, I know that's not a lot. You know, I will say you need to do more than 15 minutes a day studying if you're serious about your studies. But it's better than nothing. And if you're doing 15 minutes a day, 7 days a week, that stuff adds up. So start small. If you're having trouble, you know, finding that motivation, start small, and just think how it's going to change your career and your life trajectory. I think that's one of the biggest things, is finding your why, right? Why do I want to be a CCNA? Do I want to, you know, change my life right now, my position, financially? That's good. That's a good motive. I mean, you're also gonna have to be passionate about this career to some degree, if you want to stand out. But a good start is, you know, making sure you find your why to get that CCNA in the first place. And again, that could be financially, for yourself, for your family, if you have kids, wife, all that kind of stuff. That's a good why. My personal why is definitely to improve myself. You know, that's why I got my CCNA 4 years ago. That's why I am going for my CCNP now, to improve myself. Obviously, you know, the financial reward of having higher level certifications. And then not only that, but I find it fun. I enjoy learning new things every day. And it's cool because, you know, you're going to get into that work environment, and, you know, some people have different opinions on certifications, but I really think it's worth it, because it gets you out of your current environment, is the best way to say it. Once you get a job as a network engineer, it kind of like, you know, there may be things in there that you might never use, but you never know. Cisco might come out with this nice new thing, or maybe an older thing that you just never thought to use in the first place in your current environment, because you're so used to just doing the same old, you know, plain Jane setup, where, you know, maybe there's some that they come out with that you're aware of through the certifications that really, you know, takes your company to the next level, and your boss is not going to be upset about that, I assure you. So, you know, that's another aspect of certification. So again, just back to the point, find your why, guys. Find what you're doing this for, because that's going to really make the difference on, you know, whether you can, you know, find time to study and, you know, really focus on it. Because if you don't have that why, then you're not going to do it. If you don't have the habit, then you're not going to do it. You need to find that why, find that habit, and just focus on trying to enjoy the process, because, you know, life is not a destination. This is, you know, life is not a destination. It's turned into, I don't even know here. What is this? Like, self-help, motivation, life theory, type of video, where it was really just supposed to be about the CCNA study habits. But anyway, it's just, the principle still applies, guys. Find that why. Focus on getting the CCNA knocked out. Make habits. Start small with the habits, and you can do it. You really can. You can knock it out right now in 2025 and not have to worry about it anymore. And really, if you don't want to, you don't have to go higher than the CCNA. It's not a requirement. And most jobs, once you're a network engineer, once you kind of get into that entry level, and you're getting that real world experience, they're not really going to care that much. It might be listed on their job offer, or not their job offer, but their job listing. But they want to see that you can do the work, because that's really what the certifications are about, right? Confirming that you can do what you say you can do. So anyway, guys, that's it. Get your CCNA.